Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. When Israel was in Egypt land, to let my people.
Why would you save Afro hair? I mean, you can't weave in Afro hair. You don't never see us at the hair place going, look here, what I need is, I need this curly, nappy beard. that just seems
but
nasty.
I totally get this. I mean, I don't know if I'm weird, but I have, like, my son's first haircut and hair little
Which
things.
is probably some beautiful, long, silky stuff.
Me too.
That's not what an Afro is.
Nigga, please.
I want to apologize for my recent attempt at humor that missed the target and hit my people squarely in the heart. To all of you, I say I'm very sorry for my failed attempt at humor surrounding something that's very sensitive to us, our hair. I could use this time to try to explain the intent on what I said, but misunderstanding aside, the way the joke came out offended my people and my community.
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. Your thoughts ain't my thoughts.
Cheryl Underwood is my friend. Well, ain't nothing like some damn collard greens and some chicken. Boy, let me tell you something. Now your daddy be eating some. Boy, let me tell you something. Now your daddy be talking to you, be pointing the food at you. Boy, let me tell you something. This here right here, boy, there's something else right here.
Nigga.
I don't care what the subject is. It could be prohibition. I don't care what the subject is. When you get through saying it, and I don't know what the hell you talking about, my favorite line is, I don't give a damn about slavery, and walk off.
You the devil. You the devil. You a Satanist, huh? Then you wrote a book too then, right?
I just feel like African American is the worst race in the world because, first of all, we kill each other. You know, people always talk about this racist stuff, but the white man ain't waiting in your bushes with a chopper.
Nah.
The white man ain't trying to take your rims off your car.
No, he's not.
The white man ain't doing all this wrong. We doing this to each other. So how can we say F the white man? He ain't doing nothing but when you get in trouble doing his job. Guilty.
Nigga, please.
I don't feel it's fair, you know. I watch crime stories. I see people do crazy things and get 14 years and, you know, when people getting caught with a little weed and getting, in most states where it's legal and get threw away, man. You know, I had 2 marijuana charges, a blunt in the ashtray, and 5 grams. He ain't never doing his job. I don't grind pills, but I had 5 grams, man, and I got 10 years, man. Guilty.
You fucking income fucking poop.
I want to be labeled a human who loves humans. I'm tired of being labeled. I'm an American. I'm not an African American. I'm an American.
Cut that bitch off.
I have thank you to Ancestry.com actually for sending me my DNA test.
I did mine too.
You did yours?
Yeah, I did it.
Isn't it awesome?
It's crazy.
I am from every continent in Africa except for one, and I'm from every continent in Europe except for one.
Girl, I didn't go that deep. We went to like 1890. That's cool.
Oh no, we went back super far.
Wow.
And for the last 400 years, my family's been living in Virginia. How long do you have to be in one country before you're that?
Biatch. Stupid bitch.
Now, I want to make this one point. You know, when people talk about race, they always want to act like it's only white people who are racist. Listen, there are black people who are racist also. Don't ever get that That's one thing I always want to talk about.
But you also agree with the verdict, right? The verdict in the Zimmerman trial.
Yes.
The shirt that you got on, those are officers that was killed in the line of duty?
Yes, these are officers that was killed in the line of duty.
All right. Now, I want to ask you, why would you represent that instead of putting on your brother's shirt, all the brothers that been killed? And I noticed you got on the NYPD hat. You representing the police officers hard, brother. Talk to me about that.
Okay, that's how you look at it. First and foremost, my daughter, if you could Google it right now, she has an organization called Blue Lives Matter. She started this when Officer Ramos and Lou got killed.
Blue Lives Matter?
Blue Lives Matter, yeah. Because I'm not going to raise him to get killed by the police. Right. See, if I raise him, but my attitude was how I was raised, you know, the police, then he go up with that thing, the police, every time you see a police, next thing you know, he going to be shot up. So sometimes we can poison our kids to get murdered. So that's why I got the hat on, because them folks didn't ask to die. They went to the World Trade Center and died. Life is a life. Black life, green life, blue life is all the same.
One related to.
So in other words, you can't beat them, join them, so I don't get shot down, or my babies get shot down. Let me represent the police instead of representing
myself. Police ain't never did nothing to me, first and foremost. Let's get this out the way. Personally, the man in the mirror, police ain't never did. The only time I had a problem with the police, when I broke the law. And if anybody black, I'll say, the police just come up onto him, hey man, I'm gonna do this. It never happened to me.
Okay,
all right.
Interesting position. Now, I would never doubt or knock children's genius, so they are very bright, and their hearts are in a good place to want to speak to a segment of humanity. So I would never speak against the effort, and you should be proud as a father. But getting to Trump, you mentioned something now. This is okay, but but very, very briefly, I must ask this, and then, okay, but one last thing. You said, okay, but no, briefly first, you showed us.
Black Lives Matter?
Well, hold on one second. You showed us, or attempted to show us, numbers that you were alleging that were your direct contact to Trump, all these people. Now, okay, great. All I would ask, now, is somewhat personal. So what, and I don't know how well connected you are, but what are some of the regular topics you have to speak to about what might be our first family, the Trumps, that you are such in regular contact with them?
Okay, what was so different than Obama? I ain't see nothing change with Obama. We had 8 years of Obama.
Right. Did you have him on speed dial?
No. You know why?
So again, the Trumps. Let's stick with the Trumps. You are in touch with the Trumps regularly. Yeah. What are some of the things that you have to speak as regularly? You got Donald Trump. You got Ivana. You are going to show us 4 numbers. Yeah. What are some of the topics?
The topic is basically this: the black vote. And the topic basically is, they didn't say nothing about sending no ship back to Africa. That's why black folks need to mind our business, man. He said he's gonna build a wall. We didn't come across no wall. See, now if he said he's gonna build a ship, then I'll be in front of Trump Tower every day, protesting him. But he said a wall. I didn't jump across no wall. We know the Mexican came here, so we ain't gonna get into that.
Interesting position, Pill.
Red pill, give me the red pill.
Red pill?
Do me a favor, good brother. Let's say these names together. All right? These are some of the people that were murdered by the police departments across America. All right? First and foremost, we want to say the name of our good brother, Tamir Rice. You say his name?
I don't have to say his name.
You say his name, brother.
I can say, I don't have to, we playing like some kind of little game here with a 54-year-old man.
Game?
We resurrected him because I'll say Tamir Rice, but don't, let me just say this.
All right, hold on. We're not finished. Sean Bell.
Oh, now, I'm glad you said Sean Bell. Now, if you go in the history books of Sean Bell, from the trial on, I was right there with his mother and father. So when you say about Sean Bell, I wasn't there for no money like Al Sharpton was. So when you say Sean Bell, make sure you go to the footage and see where I was at on that whole trial during the Sean Bell trial. Now, once again, I'm going to say this again. When I deal with life in general, I deal with the man in the mirror. That's why I love like Michael Jackson. Everybody should celebrate that record and listen to that record. I don't have no other images in the mirror when I look in the mirror. So when I look at these pictures, and it brings back sad memories. It brings back sad memories. Zongo, I was there for a majority.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question briefly.
But I'm still not representing.
You said that you were riding with Sean Bell. Because I remember you were out there doing your activism thing, right? What we're saying is we want to speak about these people who were defenseless, these people who were killed, these people who were killed unjustly Forget about the money. They were not, these murders were not justified. All we're saying on this anniversary of 9/11 is the same way that you want to resurrect or you want to represent these strangers on your chest.
Black strangers.
Yeah, well,
Black officers on here too.
yeah, yeah.
Black officers died that day too.
Facts.
This ain't all. He looked just as black as me. He was not all white officers. If it was all white, I wouldn't have it on because that'd be disrespect.
No doubt.
But it was black officers died that day too. Just like it was black firemen, black EMS. You know, and once again.
So you're a humanitarian. You just love everybody.
No, I don't love everybody. I'm not with the LBG thing. I ain't falling to that part yet. I got accustomed to American ways to love somebody gay because the Bible says Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. But I love everybody else under the sun besides that LGB thing. You know, that LBG thing, no.
Okay, good brother.
You know, everything else, yeah. Man, if you man, woman, boy, girl, yeah, I respect you and love you. But if you getting, if your name is Steve and you going with Billy and you getting poked, that's a whole different thing.
What if somebody in that shirt was gay? All lives matter. You said, no, hold on.
I don't know what they.
Blue lives matter. That's what you pushing. Hold on, good brother. Blue lives matter.
All lives matter.
Huh?
All lives matter.
How can all lives matter? You against the LBGT?
No, listen. LBGT, the Bible says in the beginning.
Oh, no.
There was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. I'll say it again. This ain't what I said. This is what the Bible says. So I try to.
Are you the Bible?
No, but I live by it.
Hold on. The bottom line is that you're a poor example of a black man in Harlem. You are walking up and down the street as a fucking nigga, and you raising your babies, and you acting like a fucking nigga in front of your children. Stand the fuck up. Be a black man. Be a black man. Stop acting like a fucking nigga. Take that fucking NYPD hat off. Take off them fucking crackers you got. Take off them fucking crackers you got on your shirt. You running around here like a fucking nigga, and you got these black men that was murdered in the hands of these fucking police officers. Standing in the line of fire of them police officers. You walking up and down the street like a fucking coon, and you got your babies looking at a fucking poor example of a fucking nigga.
You don't know me, man.
The black families did not have to do anything for us.
You're damn right, because he's
fucking coon ass nigga walking around with white police officer shirt on. Cause police got murdered, he got on a police officer shirt. But when it comes to these brothers, he don't want to mention their name. Stupid motherfucker. You's a stupid ignorant ass nigga. Oh man. Damn, man, this shit is not on. Test it. Come on, man. Tell the people how you feel.
It ain't nothing to think about, because this nigga trying to talk buffoon.
First of all, I'm not with the marching and all that shit. I'm not marching with no white motherfucker. That's what you do. That's what you do. That's why you don't see me. That's why you don't see me, motherfucker.
You like these cats here? I got rich off of white motherfuckers. You don't know nothing about me, nigga. I got rich off white folks. Nigga, you better check my record, nigga.
So now let me put on this shirt. See, that's why he representing the police. He got rich off of white folks. He's saying fuck all the black people that got murdered. I'ma represent the white cops. Stupid ass fucking nigga.
So the same payoff that he said that the families is taking, the same payoff. Come on, brother.
Bring your cool ass over here. Fucking coon ass nigga. That's a fucking coon ass nigga. He walking around with the white man police officers that got murdered, and he couldn't even mention the black brothers that got murdered. Fucking nigga.
Now it's all lives matter.
Coon trade is coming. Coon trade is coming.
What about black on black crime?
Coon trade is coming.
Where's the white women at?
Coon trade is coming.
All white peoples ain't bad.
Coon trade is coming.
We is our own worst enemy.
Coon trade is coming.
What about black on black crime?
Coon trade is coming.
Where's the white women at?
Recently stirring controversy on Fox Sports when he said he personally doesn't see racism because so many of his fans are white.
I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism.
There was a lot of backlash from people about that. Would you change it, what you said, or
No,
you
not
still
at
feel the
all.
same way? What's your thought on Black Lives Matter?
What is it? What do you mean?
The idea was that there's this movement called Black Lives Matter, thinking that the rest of America didn't seem to understand that Black Lives Matter.
It just sounds weird. I didn't know that you put a name on. It's not a name. It's not whatever. It's somebody got shot by police and for up reason. I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands Black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man. My life matter, especially to my.
Do you separate yourself from it?
I don't feel connected to a damn thing that ain't got nothing to do with me. If you do, you crazy as you. Connected to this flag right. As I'm connected, I'm a gangbanger, man. I'm connected.
He ended our interview angrily.
You hear about slavery for 400 years. For 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
What train is this?
This is the Coon Train.
The Coon Train. What does this lead to?
This is where guys go to get their pats on the head from racist individuals in the dominant society. You know that is very important to them.
Who rides this train? Can anyone get on it?
No, not just anyone. You have to be a bootlicker, buck dancing, sissified, pasteurized, homogenized nigger to get on this train. You have to be willing to attack black people and make those who are racist feel good about themselves. You have to be willing to coon on television. You have to be willing to attack black people and make those who are racist feel good about themselves. You have to be willing to coon on television. You have to be willing to coon on television. Why do you think we put Charles Barkley in a dress? We knew he was a bitch a long time ago. As a matter of fact, he sits in first class where you get extra leg room to tap dance.
Do these guys feel any remorse for what they do? How can you sleep at night knowing that you attack your own people like that?
We give them nigger trinkets, my friend, you know, shoes, a handshake, a barbecue tripe sandwich with onions, anything to make them happy. Black people are under attack, and these coons don't defend you, but they will align themselves with those who attack you. Don't worry, when we are done with these niggers, we will give them back to you when we find no use for them. It's up to you if you will take them back with open arms.
What did they all have in common? They all came from poverty-stricken areas that believes they made it since they have a little money. Now on TV, entertaining the world with their voices, many of such has been in La La Land and lost a sense of reality, meaning our struggle as a people. This seems to happen to our people that runs into a little money, whether on TV or not. I'm going to call it like I see it. You're a traitor to our race, or a coon in my book, many of which has developed Stockholm Syndrome. How did we African Americans, descendants of slaves, get here to the Americas? By the transatlantic slave trade, which is written in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Verse 64, and Yahweh shall scatter you among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there you shall serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. Verse 68, and Yahweh shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. How do we get to the Americas? With ships. What was the transatlantic slave trade? With ships. By the way whereof I spake unto you, you shall see it no more again, meaning we're not going to see our homeland again. And there you should be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, meaning no man is going to redeem us. Verse 48. Therefore shall you serve your enemies, which Yahweh shall send against you, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed you. Once we've gotten comfortable and started thinking like them, they took the chains off our necks, but always puts us back in place to remind us that we are not equal.
We turn now to Cleveland. The streets there are calm tonight after clashes that followed a controversial verdict involving a police shooting. But many in that city are still angry about the decision that cleared an officer who stood on the hood of a car, and you can see it here, fired 15 times at the two unarmed suspects inside. They later died. The officer says he was afraid for his own life. ABC's Alex Perez in Cleveland tonight with more.
Tension in Cleveland overnight.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot!
Police making 71 arrests, mostly for violence against bystanders. Most of those arrests coming at night.
We had incidents of protesters actually pepper spraying patrons that were seated at restaurants in their patio areas or walking down the street.
The clashes coming after a judge Saturday cleared Cleveland police officer Michael Brillo of any wrongdoing in the shooting deaths of Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams. The court saying the decision came on a holiday weekend to minimize delay.
I therefore find the defendant not guilty.
Victims' family members furious.
It's a tragedy because nobody is being held accountable.
Russell and Williams were killed in 2012 after leading police on a nearly 25-minute car chase that ended up involving more than 100 officers. Police who thought they were being shot at finally cornered the car. Multiple officers were firing, and Brillo jumped on the hood of their car and fired 15 shots into the windshield.
I therefore find the defendant not guilty. I therefore find the defendant not guilty. I therefore find the defendant not guilty.
Zechariah chapter 11 verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. Wake up, people. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 25. Yahweh shall cause you to be smitten before your enemies. You shall go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. We always had traitors or coons while in captivity due to fear of helping raising our nation up. Let's look at the Egyptian captivity, which is where we served hard bondage and witnessed the power of the Most High. Some of us coons wanted to go back to Egypt because of no faith. Exodus chapter 14, verse 10 through 14. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Yashar'Allah lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and there were sore afraid. And the children of Yashar'Allah cried out unto Yahweh. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, has you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore has you dealt thus with us, to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell you in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? Even back then, some of our people were scared of change and wanted to remain slaves, just like today. We have to step out on faith. For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. And Moses said unto the people, Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of Yahweh, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. Yahweh shall fight for you, and shall hold your peace. I know we are tired of oppression and want to do something, like an eye for an eye. I'm with that, but we have to wait for the Most High, because, let me repeat that, Yahweh shall fight for you, and you shall hold your peace.
Los Angeles is dealing with the biggest wildfire in the city's history.
Hundreds of residents are being forced to evacuate their homes.
California's governor has declared a state of emergency with several other large wildfires burning on the state's west coast.
The western U.S. is being hit by another type of natural disaster, wildfire.
The sheer numbers are staggering. 100 fires in total, around 80 of them considered large.
In 9 western states. Did you get that? 75 fires in 9.
Can you also talk about, last week saw virtually unprecedented floods across South Asia.
Let's look at the Grecian captivity and see how some of our people sold out. First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 10 through 15. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. So as you see, we had coons back then, being a traitor to our race. Verse 13. Then certain of the people were so for her herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathens. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, which are gymnasiums or stadiums like we see today, according to the customs of the heathen. Verse 14 again. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, which is what they're doing today. We are getting accustomed with the heathen practices and joining ourselves with them, and forgetting about our true powers. And were sold to do mischief. And that's exactly what's going on with us today. Let's look at when one of the Messiah's disciples betrayed him while in Roman captivity. Matthew chapter 26, verse 14 through 16. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, What will ye give me? And I will deliver him unto you. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And at that time he saw opportunity to betray him. So he sold out for money. What do these so-called celebrities do? Sell out for money. As for Judas, let's see what the Messiah said. Matthew chapter 26, verse 24. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him. But woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been better for that man if he had not been born. That's a strong statement. Now let's look at what the Messiah said about these so-called celebrities. Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Many of these so-called celebrities sign big contracts, which is a bond to what's written. Once in, you are being controlled on what to say, what to do, and what to wear, etc. Now ask yourself, even though they may have the money and fame, but who's more of a slave? In the public eye, it appears to be a good life, but not so behind the scenes. Ecclesiasticus chapter 20, verse 29. Presents and gifts blind the eyes of the wise, and stop up his mouth that he cannot reprove. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 4 through 10. He is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words, whereof comes envy, strife, railings, evil surmisings, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw yourself. But godliness contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. Let's repeat that. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. Verse 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil. For the love of money is the root of all evil. Which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So how did Kanye go from this?
Meanwhile, the DEA teamed up with the CCA. They try and lock niggas up. They try and make new states. I miss the old Kanye, straight from the gold Kanye. Chop up the soul Kanye, set on his goals Kanye.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
And I basically know now we get racially profiled, pumped up and hosed down, pimped up and hoed down. I feel the pain in my city wherever I go. 314 soldiers died in Iraq. 509 died in Chicago. I get down for my grandfather who took my mama, made her sit in that seat where white folks ain't want us to eat. At the tender age of 6, she was arrested for the sit-ins. And with that in my blood, I was born to be different.
To this.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
Frankly, I'm disappointed, I'm appalled, and brother, I am unbelievably hurt by the fact that you have morphed into something, to me, that's not real.
If I would have voted, I would have voted on Trump.
You see these towns, and when you see these thugs being thrown into the back of a paddy wagon, you just see them thrown in, rough. I said, please don't be too nice.
Like, my yay, George Bush don't care about black people, cannot in any way, this dude has to like diss Trump.
I know Obama was 7 cents, but ever since Trump won, it proved that I could be president.
Half the shit Trump does, I don't agree with.
What half do you agree with?
Just the ability to do what no one said you could do, to do the impossible.
Make America great again, had a negative perception. I took it, wore it, rocked it, gave it a new direction. Added empathy, caring, love, and affection. And y'all simply questioning my method.
Get genocide and slavery, we should just try and forget. And all the free thought shit, find a better defense. But if you ain't just stuck in their way, we can leave it at that. Fuck.
By me knowing him, he was always conscious on our struggle as a people due to his upbringing, just like I was. And he was never naive to what's going on.
We grew up very aware of racism in this country. And I was even arrested at the tender age of 6 for sitting in, demonstrating at a lunch counter in Oklahoma City.
I came from a military family. By the time I got to college, I joined the Black Panther Party.
We say power to the people.
The political activity was all about making sure that whatever was not just became just.
Kanye's mom and dad played a huge role in molding Kanye.
While in grammar school, we gravitated towards each other because of the same interests, whether it was hip-hop, dance, or just our personality. And at that time, we liked to dance. So we formed a dance group for our school talent show.
Kanye and I moved to the south side of Chicago. He went to school out of the neighborhood. It was a magnet school, humanities and the arts.
Only those that applied and were accepted.
In 1988, it was 5th grade.
Kanye walked into my classroom and walked up to me and told me that he wanted to be on a talent show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Quadro.
The name of the group was the Quadro Posse. Stepping was the craze at the time. So he and 3 other friends got together.
He was like flipping people over, sweep your leg, they jump up and all that.
And at the end, it was pandemonium.
They won the talent show. He's always been a ham, not a shy bone in his body.
After graduating and moving on to different high schools, we lost touch, but got back in touch while at Chicago State University. Even though we didn't have classes together, we would meet up in between classes or for lunch. Now during this time, he would kick his best rhymes to me as if I was an A&R, because he knew how much I love hip-hop. Him being a Jay-Z fan and me being a Nas fan, we would always debate on who's better lyrically. While still at Chi State, I no longer saw him up there, but remember when he said he would drop out to pursue his dream. Fast forward, ran into him a year later at Borders off 95th Street. For those that's from Chicago know which Borders I'm talking about. He invited me to his crib, which was down the street. There is where I found out he was producing for different artists. Being amazed with platinum and gold plaques on his wall, he told me, "You helped influence me." I'm like, "What?" He said, "When you told me not to drop out of college, you was the main one telling me not to, cause I was going to disappoint my mom. And what if it doesn't work?" Fast forward, a year later, Kanye is on MTV TRL with Jay-Z performing. I was like, wow. This dude made it to someone he looked up to. One thing I can say about Kanye, he always had that drive in proving people wrong. Some would say he's cocky, arrogant, but I would say self-confident until he ran into that big money. Then his ego got in the way. Feeling like he's on top of the world due to fans idol worshiping him, he now feels like he's God, having the God complex, and naming himself Jesus. And to top it off, he came out with his own Bible. He's one of the sons of Israel, which is the chosen, who's supposed to be ruling like we're God anyway. But Psalms chapter 82, verse 5 through 7. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princesses.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
He's right. Slavery was a choice as a nation of people. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command you this day, that Yahweh your Elohim will set you on high above all nations of the earth. But there's a stipulation. Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, did we follow the Most High? Were we obedient or were we disobedient? Well, we know we've been disobedient. We've been in the Egyptian captivity. After that, the Assyrian captivity. Then the Babylonian captivity. then the Medes and Persians captivity, then the Grecian captivity, and now the Roman captivity. But some may not be convinced that we are in captivity. Baruch chapter 3, verse 8 through 14. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where you have scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. So this is why he scattered us. For a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from Yahweh our Elohim. Hear, Yahshua Allah, the commandments of life. Give ear to understand wisdom. How happeneth it, Israel, that you are in your enemy's land, that you are waxing old in a strange country, that you are defiled with the dead, that you are counted with them that go down into the grave. You has forsaken the fountain of wisdom. For if you had walked in the way of Elohim, you should have dwelled in peace forever. Learn where wisdom is, where is strength, where is understanding, that you may know also where is length of days and life, where is the light of the eyes and peace. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 13 and 14. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Verse 14. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Like I said, we've been in captivity for so long under every ruler. Verse 14 again. Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Isaiah chapter 1, verse 2 through 4. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for Yahweh has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knows his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel do not know. My people do not consider. We don't even consider who puts the breath of life in our nostrils, or the Spirit of God in our nostrils. We don't even consider why the things are going on with this people. We don't even consider why we are placed under a curse. We don't even consider why we came over to another land in slave ships. We don't even consider to pay homage to our true power. Verse 4. All sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken Yahweh. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. Now let's go back to Psalms chapter 82, verse 8. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all nations. I'm going to repeat that. What's going to happen when we come back to our true powers, when we start following the laws, statutes, and commandments? And this is one of the reasons why they don't want us to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Because verse 8, arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all nations.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
He also said, enslaved for 400 years, and it was all y'all. There were plenty of slave revolts, but they were unsuccessful as a nation. Why? Leviticus chapter 26, verse 36 through 38. And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a faintness into their hearts in the lands of their enemies, and the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee, as flee from a sword, and they shall fall when none pursue. And they shall fall one upon another, as it were before a sword, when none pursue. And ye shall have no power to stand before your enemies. And ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. When you surround yourself with devils and move the ones from your circle that keep you grounded, you can't tell him nothing. He needs to remove himself from that circle and repent, fast, and pray, and be willing to risk everything before it's too late. Who knows what kind of mind control they have on Ye? And with all this comes pride. 2nd Esdras chapter 8 verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Proverbs chapter 29 verse 23. A man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 verse 12 and 13. The beginning of pride is when one departs from Elohim, and his heart is turned away from his maker. For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that has it shall pour out abomination. And therefore Yahweh brought upon them strange calamities, and overthrew them utterly. Yea has a voice that can speak across the world, which shows the power of the tongue. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. When Ye made those comments, people were furious. But my thing is, who cares about what he says? Will what he say have an impact on your life? No. While people worried about what he said, we are under attack spiritually and physically. Discriminations, lynchings.
What the fuck? This nigga just went out bad. On the west side.
Bible banning in China.
According to a report by the New York Times on Thursday, the Chinese government has banned all online sales of the Christian Bible. Gizmodo reports that China's biggest online retailers have already stopped offering the book, and sales are now only permitted at official church bookstores in China. The Times report suggests that the recent move shows President Xi Jinping's efforts to promote traditional values and regulate the influence of both Christianity and the West. The Bible is the only holy text currently banned from being sold online.
And they're trying to pass a law in California.
Therapeutically legitimate methods for addressing the concerns of persons who are questioning or confused about their sexual orientation without resorting to conversion therapy.
The Trevor Project is pleased to co-sponsor AB 2943, which, as said, codifies and makes explicit in California law that efforts to change a person's sexual orientation is a fraudulent business practice under the Consumer Legal Remedies Act.
World War III is kicking off. But we care about what Kanye said, right? Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Romans chapter 13, verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. I want to give all praises to the Most High Allah, Yahweh Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Shalom.